Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody who's happened to be watching and everywhere, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook. This is the Bold Prediction Sports Media Podcast. I'm that dude with the beard. He's Mr. KC from the 813. What's going on, Mr. KC? Week 13.
Woo, wild, wild week 13. We had a crazy week 12. Look, we hit good numbers. I went 13-3. Dude with
Yes,
the beer
sir.
went 12-4. Very solid weeks for us. Seen some crazy. It was a wild little action, especially Thanksgiving and all that, and the new primetime game, which was kind of weird.
Yeah, but nice for to have something to do on Friday when you didn't have to go to work. Catch a nice little NFL game.
hmm Yeah, but in typical Jeff Bezos prime fashion, it's they get a terrible game. Like I don't know who picks it for these guys, but apparently this is just what they do.
Coin toss, usually, probably. Tic tac toe, maybe. Or probably I declare war. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, it's wild to think about. And there was a lot of games that just you know I would say the game of the week definitely had to be that Philly Eagles game. Like it was just a monstrous of a game, a overtime game. They kicked a 60-yard field goal in the rain to take it to overtime, and it was 60 yards because Jason Kelsey had a bunch of penalties. It was rough, crazy game for the Eagles. They somehow managed to beat the Bills as predicted.
Yeah, as far as game of the week, I'll never give the Bills anything close to that. Um, but game of the week is clearly Green Bay beating the Lions. It's
Oh,
significant. Not only did it solidify firm statements, bold predictions, by the way, it solidified that the Packers are poised to make a playoff run. So Jordan Love, I see you, man. I see you,
that's not
man.
happening.
And Mr.
That
KC
is
sees you too,
that is
because he saw
not
what happened
happening.
to two of his favorite quarterbacks back to back.
Mm. I mean, there's truth to that, but I'm not ready to give Jordan Love any kind of credit. Maybe I should, because last time I did, he went right downhill. So let's give a shout out to
Okay.
Jordan Love. Keep it up, buddy. I can't wait to see you back on my bad list next week.
Well, yeah, I mean, they got a L coming up, but we'll talk about that soon enough. Sooner than later.
Yeah,
But we talking about last
let's
week.
get into it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
get into it. Then. Let's go ahead and get these games out the way. And we got a oh my lord, this is actually a banger for a Thursday night game. I'm staying up late Thursday night watching this one. This is the first primetime game I might have been hyped about in a while. We got the Seattle Seahawks facing the Cowboys in Dallas.
Yeah, and you're not lying. It's definitely a game to look forward to, a game to watch. And this is a game where I'm picking Seattle to win because that's what I do. I pick Seattle. They're going to the Super Bowl. They need this win. They need to get that
Mm.
composure back together, get poised, and it starts by beating the Cowboys.
Talk about a team that you do not want to face in a must-win situation because it's not the end of the world, right? We understand that the Seahawks can still lose this game and make the playoffs. That being said, they've been losing a lot of games, and if you want to make the playoffs, you got to stop doing that. But unfortunately, I don't think you're going to. I think the Cowboys are going to win this game.
If the Cardinals can beat the Cowboys, so can the Seahawks. And I'm going to
Mm.
leave that at that. They got something
Uh,
about them birds that get on them
look,
Cowboys.
I'm not saying it's impossible. The Seahawks can get it done. Look, if we know anything, Gino and the boys and the whole cast there, they've got the right tools on deck to really, they should not be losing as many games as they have been. And they've
Yeah,
been okay-ish in some, but others it's just been. I mean, look at that
tragedies.
49ers game. That wasn't as competitive as you hoped for.
It's a tragedy. It was all around tragedy, a growing experience. That's why you lose to the Niners in that tragedy to become ready to face the Cowboys and slaughter them on your way back up. Because we all know what the
Yeah,
Cowboys are going to do. They'll win a few more games and then they're going to cowboy it, just like they always do. Then we're going to get divisional Dak, and that would be the story of Django.
yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to make the playoffs and just do the typical cowboy moves. But they're definitely, man, they're trying hard to get a good seat in the playoffs at least.
Yeah, that way they can lose that divisional game probably at home facing the Seattle Seahawks again in a
Oh,
rematch on their way to the championship conference game against the Eagles, in which they'll win every game. It's going to be almost like how the Chiefs did. Every game Seattle going to play in the playoffs is going to be a rematch that they lost, and they're going to tear them
mm,
dudes up on the way to the Super Bowl.
I like that theory. They're going to be
I
in
know.
for a rematch game because they lose to the Cowboys this week. All right, the next Sunday action, Sunday morning. We have the Colts versus the Titans. Who's winning this game?
Without a shadow of a doubt, I'm gonna go with the Colts in this game. Uncle Rico still out here getting it done. They're 6-5, fighting for a playoff spot too. They're in wild card contention. They have to win this game. It's pretty much a wrap for Tennessee, who's at the bottom of the barrel in that division. And so you just go ahead and stomp them out one more time, pad your division wins, move to 7-5, keep your playoff hopes alive.
It's really wild to me that I thought the playoffs would be somewhat, like a wild card spot would be somewhat possible for the Colts in the offseason. But that was with Anthony Richardson, that rookie
Right.
quarterback. He, probably the better. They might be ahead a game or two if he was still playing. If we're going to be honest, and it's just these Colts are getting it done one step out of a time. This is going to be a tough game. I mean, the Titans are a more competitive team than they're the type of team to give you a loss to a bad team. But
Excuse me.
I'm with you. I think Colts and Uncle Rico, Gardner Minshew gets that done there.
Yeah, because once he said he told me he could throw a football a quarter mile, I believed it. Well, there was
Mm.
nothing else to talk about.
Speaking about nothing to talk about, we have the Falcons playing the Jets in New York. Who do you got winning this one?
Atlanta. This was the game that I said they would win anyway. They got to win because they're in the South and they can still fight for number one for first place and get into that playoff spot. 'Cause remember, I had them going 10-7, so this is probably where the rip starts happening. Maybe they lose one more game, or maybe they bust out an illustrious 11-5 or 11-5. Yeah, six. Um, six losses already, but yeah, you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
I
Add it
think
up.
that's
Add it up. You know,
think a man could dream, right? You could dream on that one. I'd have to look at the Falcons' schedule before remaining schedule before I
easy
got
peasy.
any kind of boldness with that.
It's easy
This
peasy.
this is an easy game for. This should be an easy game for them. My only concerns is I did see something about Aaron Rodgers coming back to practice, kind of thing. So maybe they're trying to set themselves up to be a
Young.
miraculous wild card spot. But that being said, they really just don't have a quarterback at all to get them anywhere close to that position. So this is a tough. I really kind of want to pick the Jets here, so I'm going to put an asterisk by this game.
Mhm.
So I'm going to go Falcons as well, but I'm not going to bet this game because I almost want to bet the Jets as an upset.
No, I think the defense will try to keep it tight.
Yeah,
Keep it interesting, but they're gonna lose. The Falcons are gonna win this game.
they
Like
just
they
don't.
just
They had a
playoff hope.
sniff of a quarterback, just a hint of some kind of quarterback play. I'd pick the Jets here. And
Cause
it's just
shoot, yeah, the Falcons schedule after this easy riding. You get Tampa Bay, Carolina. The hardest game they got left is in Indianapolis,
mm. Yeah,
and
and
they could
Tampa could
probably
beat
win
them up.
that game.
They possibly. We have to wait and see on the Tampa one.
I'm so goodbye, Tampa. You've already
Yeah.
proved to me that your
Not the
season's done.
roughest. Not the, it's rough for the Falcons, but not rough for most teams. It's a little iffier than it should be, just because it's not like the Falcons are just an elite team or nothing. But I think
Right?
they could get it done.
Yeah, that's what we're here to see. That's what we're gonna see.
Oh, speaking of here to see, can the Lions stop this losing this to the Saints? They play the Saints in New Orleans Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern.
The betting money tells you to pick the Lions, but I'm gonna tell you to pick the Saints. Like I said, the NFC South is so trash. They're all fighting for the first position. I think Derek Carr finds a way to win this game. Finally win and finally beat a quality team. Let alone that. So I believe in the Lions are just going to be the Lions. That's what I believe. I just it started off good. It's looking good. It still looks good, but they're not going to win a Super Bowl. This thing is going to taper off. Let's go Saints.
Oh, I'm picking the Lions. They're supposed to win these games. Look, the Lions lost to the Packers and Love. This is it. They obviously it's very possible they could lose to the Saints. I'm not gonna just say this is light years better. I've seen them just continuously lose to garbage teams. It's uh it's a sad habit for Detroit. The self-inflicted wounds when you have easy teams like the Packers and the Saints, and you're supposed to beat them, but maybe you don't. But I'm going to still pick the Lions. But uh, I refuse to put any money on the Lions anymore this year. Not this season. Garbage Packers loss. Like, what was that? That was trash.
It was a
Yeah,
bold prediction.
trash, trash organization. Speaking of trash organization, we have the Denver Broncos
Ooh.
playing a non-trash franchise in the Houston Texans in Houston.
Yeah, and this is the game where CJ Stroud beats a legend, so to speak. He gets to go ahead and put Russ out of his misery. It's time to go ahead and put him on down. I'm going with the Texans all the way because I'll never pick the Broncos. So there's just that.
Yeah,
I'll never.
even if it was possible, I've picked the Broncos a couple times this year.
Oh yeah, you
You know,
sure
it's
have.
it's happened. So you can get an honest opinion here. It's the Texans all the way. CJ Stroud is one of those young new faces in the league that's here to prove himself. And Russell Wilson is a trash quarterback. They're trying to act like they've had some kind of resurgence. They've had a nice little lucky win streak that does end here. Give me the Houston Texans and the Ohio State's CJ Stroud.
And he's not lying. He's already looking like he's trying to take Lamar's spot as the second best in the league. He's working on it, making strides, making strides.
Yeah, he could be coming up for second place really hard. Lamar's hold on to that second place for a good little while, but
Mhm.
it's always they got to have a new generation. There's not a big group of elite young quarterbacks. It's really just a handful of guys tops, and that list is kind of shaky at best on a couple of them.
Mm-hmm. You ain't lying. The jury's still out on a few of them, so yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of one of those quarterbacks that the jury's still out on, we have the Chargers playing the Patriots. So it's can Justin Herbert. Herbert is one of those questionable elite quarterbacks with a 30-30 career record on a stacked roster every year.
Oh,
Like,
thank
on paper, people will pick the Chargers because the roster on paper is so elite every
It's
season.
every season it looks great top to bottom, but when it gets on that field, that product is nowhere near as good looking as that paper.
Oh,
And I'm going New England.
are you?
I just the Chargers just don't want it. And I told you, I told everybody I would never pick the Chargers again. At least not for the rest of this season. I'm going New England. Go ahead and get you another one, Bill.
Ah, this makes me nervous because I've been given great wisdom and great advice that says don't pick the Chargers ever again this season, and it's paid off actually. You know, once you start doing it, you realize you start getting a little better pick numbers. You know, all of a sudden you have a 13-3 week because you didn't mess up and pick the Chargers. You know,
Right.
and it's just it makes you nervous. But I'm gonna take the leap and say the Chargers, just because the Patriots find themselves in the same situation, a worse situation, because at least the Chargers still believe in Herbert. There's nobody that still believes in Mac.
No, but if Mac was is anything decent like they try to say Herbert was, oh, anyway.
Can Staley get fired if he loses this game?
I
Is
don't
that the
even know
question?
how he still has a job. Yeah, he
It,
should be fired after this.
yeah, I haven't figured it out either, and it's almost to the point where you have to ponder if they take it into next year with them too. Like maybe maybe he's got a photo or something, you know, a little blackmail, little something on
I'm
him or
trying to tell you,
something.
somebody owed him a blood debt or something. Because yeah,
Man,
there's just no way. There's just no way. You can tell that he's clearly overwhelmed, even in the press conference. He's still, I'm calling the defense. You don't have to be snapping on reporters and stuff. I'm like, dude, man, this is time to hang it up, man. You need to go back to being a coordinator. Take some of that stress out your life. Your wife probably unhappy at home because you unhappy. You see you in trash. You want to know whether y'all gonna have to move or not. Move the kids out of school. Oh, whatever, whatever. He said. It's starting from the top to the bottom. Good night.
yeah, yeah, I'm right there with you. Speaking of top to bottom, this is a wild game. We have the Arizona Cardinals going to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers.
I don't know. The only thing that's gonna be wild about it is if Pittsburgh gonna score 35 or 45,
Mm,
because they're gonna stomp these little birds to death. They're gonna come to the village, steal everything possible, and eat all the chicken on the way out. All the birds are gone on the way out. It's the Steelers all day. Kenny Pete, one of those young quarterbacks who might be something. He's fringe bubble, but only look like he's getting better and only keep winning games. So shout out to my boy Kenny P. It's the Steelers all day.
yeah, and the Steelers are. You know, if this game was in Arizona and not in cold Pittsburgh, I might actually take the leap and pick the Cardinals for an upset here. Look, the Steelers only they don't win in magical ways. They win in just like underdog somehow. Like every point, you know, you led. Every statistic says you should win except for the scoreboard. You know, that's
Right.
how the Steelers win games, and it's the wildest thing you've ever seen. But they're just gonna Mike Tomlin's gonna guarantee his 500 plus season that I wanted to say that he couldn't do.
Oh yeah, and like I said, this is well on the cruising their way to becoming the kings of the North. They're trying to get back to prominence, and then what the Ravens is on their bye week too. So all
Yeah.
this is catch up week, and you'd already beat the Ravens once.
Listen to me, folks. If the Steelers win the North, Mike Tomlin must be the
Coach of the
coach of the
year.
year. Guaranteed. Lock. And if we've been beating the drum, you're hearing it here first. Beating the drum on Mike Tomlin. And I hate the Steelers. And I'm not even a Mike Tomlin fan, but you got
No.
to give respect where respect is due. Put a crown on that dude's head, man. Jesus, that roster
Oh,
is so terrible.
so terrible, but it's so gotcha. It's like the replacements, man. Got everything in there and it's just gelled together. The old
Man,
veteran scrappy coach. Don't
don't
run
bet,
that loose.
don't bet against him, folks. I'm telling
Ooh.
you, it's a bad move all season. Speaking of don't bet against them. We've got the Miami Dolphins playing the Washington Commanders.
God. And I gotta start preserving my record and just stop taking these unnecessary L's.
Yeah,
I reluctantly picked the Miami Dolphins to win this game, and I refuse to say any more about it.
yeah. This is one of those like fat chicks like riding a moped. It's it's fun to pick them, but you don't want your buddies to know you did it. Is that what you're saying here? Is that what we're going with the Dolphins over
Oh
the
yeah.
Commanders? Listen here, folks. Fins for the win. You hear me say it every week. It's becoming unridiculous. These Miami Dolphins. This is a nice season game for them. What's the Commanders? If they had an
Come on,
offensive
Sam.
line, they'd be
Let's do
okay.
it, Sam.
Let's
Now I
let's
gotta
go
start
for
cheering
that.
for Sam. Come on, Sam. I'm still not picking y'all, but if I want y'all to win so bad.
Mm. He does, and he thought you could win, he would pick you. He really would. He just knows better. He would have had the same record as me if he just
If I'd
refused
have
to pick
picked
the
Miami.
Dolphins over. Yeah, he just. And I warned him. I'm like, "You're picking the Jets. Come on, bro.
You're
Like
right.
this is disrespectful at this point." And to be honest with you, picking the Commanders would be disrespectful too.
Yeah, so not even gonna do it to myself this week. You got to make sure those wins stack up nice.
Right. Oh, next on the list, we are looking at the Panthers versus the Buccaneers.
And you want to talk about the yawn fest of the NFL afternoon? Who
Yeah.
cares? I gotta go with my standard statement. Who cares? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a tiger by the toe. If you holler, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Buccaneers win.
Mm. That's actually a really good prediction. However, teacher talking sports taught me, I wouldn't say he taught me, but he reminded me and he brought out a very good, I'll say teaching. He taught me. It's teacher talking sports. That's
He's
what
a
he does.
teacher. He's talking
He's,
sports.
yeah,
Yeah,
teacher talking
learn
sports.
something.
He teaches. Don't forget to watch your Forgotten Athlete Friday. He's out here teaching folks. Um, when they fire the head coach, the team magically wins. So give me the Panthers. Yeah, and he was right. When the Raiders did it, it's exactly what happened. And I'm gonna ride that train and pick the Panthers.
But see, the Raiders ain't as trash as the Panthers. And this ain't that. And the Buccaneers ain't them. So
There's a lot of that too. There's there's, there's a ton of that there. Oh man, and really, the Buccaneers have no business losing that game either. So I
none.
hope they win.
But stay away from it on the bets, though, ladies and gentlemen. Don't touch that with a 10-foot pole. I'd leave it alone. I
Yeah.
wouldn't
Oh
do
yeah. Man, this is a tough one. This is a banger of a game. This is the game to watch midday. You're sitting there 4:25 Eastern time, wondering which game you're going to watch. It's this one. It's the San Francisco
it.
49ers going to Philly to play the Eagles.
And by God, I hope the Niners win. This will be the only time you hear me say it because I'm just tired of hearing mainstream media talking about how the Eagles are clearly the best team in the NFL, and they're not. We all know we've been saying it all year. I've been saying it for the last 2 years. They keep benefiting from an easy schedule. They stats are padded, and so of course they look phenomenal. Like the 10-1 always looks great anywhere. Like you know what I mean? Any sport. If you're 10-1, they're like, hey, well they're pretty good. Like I said, regardless of who they played. So, um, no, I hope the Niners win. I'm gonna actually pick the Niners this week and watch them mess around and lose because I picked
Folks, I about fell out of my chair. Dude with a beard actually picked the 49ers. Shout out Frank, one of our 49ers fans. He's going to be a believer in the Niners too. Look, I am as well. The Eagles are a tough team. They just barely beat whoever they play. It doesn't matter who they are,
no matter
where you
who it is.
play them. They're like, we'll beat you by 2 points. It doesn't. We don't care. We don't care. Yeah, I don't blame you if you pick the Eagles on this game. However, the 49ers defensive line is no joke. Not saying the Eagles is either, but man, this is a clash of the Titans. This could be an NFC championship game preview. This is just a fireworks of a matchup
Wouldn't
for
go that far,
425.
Rondell. You got to
Yeah.
hit him with the Chappelle. Wouldn't go that far, Rondell. Um,
Brock Purdy for 325. Look, and two tutties. That's what I'm going with.
no, well, yeah, we'll see. Niners, though, for sure.
Yeah. All right, we got an interesting game here. Browns versus the Rams. That's the other 425 game.
The only thing I'm interested in seeing is how the Browns going to lose this game and slide further and further down the way and open up the door for other teams like Denver because you couldn't beat them. I don't get it. Hopefully they turn it around, but I think Matt Stafford and them come in town and handle business. Or no, I mean handle business at home. I say come into town, handle business at home. The Rams been looking good the last few games. So they look better than Cleveland right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Rams.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those you can almost lock it in of the week kind of games. The Rams over the Browns feels like a very safe pick. The Browns have been wanting to be competitive. They're just missing a few key pieces, or they'd be a serious playoff contending team. And
Mm-hmm.
the Rams are flipping the script. They're taking their time and they're showing, hey, we aren't completely out of this like everyone thought we were. So
Right,
shout out the Rams. This is another get back on the path way to winning kind of game.
man. Because I wanted to pick y'all a lot during the season. You asked Mr. Casey last year. I was picking y'all. I thought y'all had it to almost go back to the Super Bowl before the debacle. So pull it together, LA, because y'all the only team in LA. So y'all got to pull it together.
Right. That ain't no lie. You got to get it together to represent for LA. Some one team has to be able to do it, and we elect you.
right.
Speaking of electing a team to win a game, we have the Kansas City Chiefs going all the way to the Cheesehead Stadium in Green Bay to play the Packers.
And ladies and gentlemen, we know the Chiefs win this game. The only question is, how ugly will it look, or how big would the blowout be? Or is it going to turn into like the Raider game, start off ugly and end up a blowout? Either way, in all scenarios, the Chiefs win this game. Jordan Love, he's 0 what 2 against Pat already because every time
Yeah.
the Packers come, Aaron gets hurt or he's mysteriously, uh, you know, whatever, peyote. So I'm looking for the Packers to go down 0-3 to Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, and this one, I'm going to predict a very, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking a very 34 to, I want to say 9 to 12 points. No touchdowns, just field goals. But the possibility of like a garbage time touchdown to make it like a, like a
So not
19
look as
point
bad as it
game.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a 16, 19. Not that way. The scoreboard at the end of the game doesn't look as crazy as it was, but everybody knows it was just third
that's right.
team letting a touchdown go in the final minute and 45 seconds or something.
Right. Yeah. Expecting big things, obviously, especially from the receivers room. We seen a few people step up. I need to see total concentration and control. Like, dude, this time, and MVS just keeps proving further and further that he needs to be off his roster or demoted so far down that we don't even see him playing no more. Put him and Sky Moore at the very bottom and let everybody else play.
I don't know. MVS did have a very critical, very good play last
What
week.
the flag? Because that's
No,
what he. Oh,
he had a
was
block on the Rashid Rice touchdown run. That
that MVS? I thought that was Sky Moore.
it was MVS. He
I'm
got
gonna
a
have to
nice
go.
block. Yeah, it was a good block downfield.
So
It's set up the
that'll
right.
make up for nothing. But
Yeah,
I
it's hey,
understand
I take
it's
a
a good
block.
play.
It's just a small little. It ain't much, but I appreciate the participation. You know.
Right. No, I understand. But by God, you wide open, catch the ball, dude.
Mm,
Catch the ball.
mm.
Catch the ball. We're paying you $11 million to do it.
This
Catch the
could
ball.
be. Look, he's coming back to Green Bay. This could make. What if this
That's
is his revenge?
dude, right.
Well, look, I don't know what his yardage prediction is, but I would almost bet the over on it just because he's in Green Bay. Just
Think
because,
so.
yeah, that might feed him a little bit. His over under. You might be able to look it up if it's possible, but his over and under just can't be so ridiculous that I just think it might be attainable. I would say if it's anything over, if it's like 40 yards or more, I'd take the over on 40, maybe even 50.
Ooh. Yeah, we'll have to take a look at that because I just don't believe it.
Yeah, that is, I don't want to get too outrageous. I'm not saying he's going for 100, but I feel like he's got a very 60 to 80 yard, one touchdown kind of game in him. Like, a 3 for 80 kind of performance. Couple big catches.
Right. Hopefully, man. I'm hoping you're completely right. I literally am. But I'm ye of little faith when it comes to this man at this point. But
Well, I mean, in fairness, what kind of faith has been even kind of possible to have in the man? That's not a lot of people you can't just not trust. But I mean, it's nothing. It's not even a surprise with him, really.
it couldn't be at this point because he's just that's what he's been doing. This reminds me of Sammy Watkins and who else? John Baldwin mixed uh with a little bit of who can't get open, who couldn't get open. Uh all of them dudes.
Right.
Good night. Like, come on.
Oh, speaking about can't get open, I would say during the preseason, this was one of those games we kind of wrote a circle around. We said, hey, looking at the preseason, I could tell you week 13, I can't wait to see this Monday night game. But now it's not so much hype around it. We kind of took the eraser out and we said, hey, if you want to take the old lady out Monday night, don't be shy. Because we got the Bengals playing the Jaguars in Jacksonville.
Right, and y'all know I picked the Jags. Like I
Yeah.
said, I just thought the Bengals would have more L's by now. It was the only difference in situations right now. Like I said, the Bengals are going to bingle. Joe Burrow being hurt or not, they were still bingling. Like, so people can say what they want. They can live in what if land. I'm not the watcher. I can't. I don't live in what if land. I can't tell you what would have happened down the other scope. I can only tell you what happens in this reality, this matrix, whatever you want to call it. Joe Burrow and the Bengals don't have it. They wasn't gonna have it. They never had it, and they ain't got it. The Prince that was promised Android 17, like I said, he's trying to get to the AFC Championship game to face the King. So we're gonna see the Jags take care of business.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, you got no Joe Burrow. It's impossible to pick Cincinnati. I believe the Bengals are going to bingle is one of our original T-shirt ideals. Another one that I believe should be a T-shirt is better than a buy. And that's
Mm.
what this game is kind of. You can call this. The Bengals players are probably calling this preview to Cancun. They get a little Florida weather before the season's over.
But you already,
Little
they know
hey,
they booked they tickets already.
yeah. Oh, at this point, if you're a Bengals player, you can go ahead
I'm
and
vacation
pay
ready, player.
you can book the non-refundable flight. Like it's not a worry. Like
Right,
you're not worried about the refund. You're fine.
right.
You're good, bro. Go ahead and
Like, trust me,
leave.
I'll be there.
Montezuma? Is that what you're doing? This you could be a world traveler. Personally, I'd check out Amsterdam or something. There's a few places. It's a great party city. You can do a lot of drinking there. the
Right.
Heineken factory.
Y'all can call it
You know,
Burrowhead. Whatever you
yeah,
want to do out there.
go check out the Van Gogh Museum. Look, it's a
Mhm.
beautiful. I've been there, done that. It's a beautiful
Call it
country.
Van Burrow.
Yeah,
Do whatever
Van
you
Gogh.
want to do when you get
Yeah,
out there.
right. Yeah, I hear Puerto Rico's nice this time of the year. I was looking up the weather to it today, and it was a nice 82-degree day in Puerto Rico. And
Sounds like my kind of weather.
yeah, that's called Captain Sign Me Up. You
Right.
know, so shout out to all the Bengals players that are looking forward to their little vacation. We we respect you for it. We 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 live vicariously through you. So make sure you put up the sunny
Right.
weather on IG or something.
Right. Drink some coconuts for your boy.
Right. Your boy needs the
Right.
inspiration.
But yeah, they need a little bit more than inspiration. But yeah, the Bengals season, like I said, in my estimate, it's been a wrap. Me and Mr. KC, we're indifferent sometimes on these Bengals. Most of the time we agree, but I didn't have to make in the playoffs regardless, Joe Burrow or no. So this is just right up the alley. You'll see the preseason clipped up here sooner than later. Like I said, I just wait for everything to come to fruition before I say I told you so. So once the season's over, I'll go full glow mode. I'll take it up from my 60% all the way up to 110.
And I mean, if people are going to point to Joe Burrow, do not get it mistaken. They are going to point to Joe Burrow being gone and skip right over the fact that they were not in a playoff position when Joe Burrow was here. This is the same kind of people that'll be like, Pat Mahomes just had an advantage because it was already a playoff team. Josh Allen didn't. And it's like, no, Josh Allen was on a playoff team. He just didn't
Man,
make the playoffs when he got there. When he took the
right,
job, he needed Stephon Diggs. They realized he wasn't going to elevate a team. He
right.
can play quarterback, but he's not going to take
Wheel
you
these
to the
guys to
next level
win.
or nothing. You
Man.
got to have, yeah, he's one of those, there's no I in team kind of guys, you know,
Hmm. And that's why,
forgetting
in
to
the
hold
words of my
his.
boy Achilles, that's why no one will remember his name.
Mm, mm.
Philip Rivers Jr.,
Well,
Chad
Buffalo doesn't have a
Rivers.
lot to celebrate. All they've got to celebrate is the other quarterback that couldn't win a Super Bowl either.
Yeah, Jim
So,
Kelly. Well, I guess they
yeah,
probably
Joe
will
Jim
eliminate.
Kelly.
Yeah, I guess you're
Yeah,
right. Hmm.
yeah. Took you 4 times. At least he did that for you, unlike Jim or Philip Josh Allen Rivers.
Yeah, it reminds me awfully a lot of Miami. Not trying to throw a jab, but
Mm.
similar situation.
I mean, they've got a lot of that. That's one of the comments that I thought was interesting this week. It was Tyreek Hill talking. He believes that the current Dolphins team is more talented than the Chiefs team was when they won the Super Bowl with him. And I would kind of disagree with that. I don't quite see it that way, Hill, but I thought it was interesting. He was that hyped up.
Hmm. Yeah, Tua can't run the Wasp, so I'm just leave that at that.
Yeah, yeah, that's not in the playbook. I promise you,
uh,
that one, you scratch that
Tua,
one.
we already know the thing on Tua under pressure is toilet paper and warm water. He falls apart. Like I said,
Mm,
even when we played him, every time I seen Steve dialing up a blitz, when he would actually do it, I said, "Oh, this is a sack." I was calling him out because I already know anytime that pressure's on his doorstep, he just
mm,
just melting almost. Good night, Jack Frost, and you in Miami. Can't melt in Miami, man.
yeah, man, that ain't no lie. Like it's tough to see. I think they can make the playoffs just because they're in the East, so they get a
Oh,
lot to
they're
play a
in
lot of
there.
easy teams. They're in the playoff. They're going to win the East, but their problem is they've shown they struggle against teams that can also win games. And you give them
I
the powder puff schedule of the Commanders and the Jets and the Patriots. Yeah. I mean, you start looking. That's 5 free wins before we
Man,
even start the season, kind of thing. And it's just I a lot of hype around, a lot of talent on the roster. Feels very Charger-esque with a easier schedule.
and it reminds me of a couple of NFC teams. It feels really uh 49er esque. It feels really cowboy esque.
I can
And
get there
it
with the
that
Cowboys possibly, but
dude,
not the
it's
Niners.
both of them. Brock Purdy ran into that train of decent teams and didn't know what to do. He was bewildered. And he already showed us he ain't got at least if Chris McCaffrey don't play, that whole team just crumbles. Like
Phew.
it's it's over. So I mean, I've seen the man fall apart without having to like it was a tragedy.
Listen,
I wouldn't Dak like I'm,
that
I'm telling
CMC
you.
trade was showing he's worth it. When CMC's healthy, man, he's one of those elite backs.
Yeah,
There's a handful of them in the league that are just really next level backs that make you ponder if you should pay them. No, I don't want to pay any of them. I'd never
right.
give them a contract. It's a bad move. Find you the next one, or find
Mm,
you the one that's three quarters as good. It's going to be good enough. But
man,
man, he'll make you think about it. And
right,
that showing the trade was worth it almost, at least almost.
right.
They need to get a little further. He's got to stay healthy and whatnot. But uh,
Yeah, yeah. But like I said, it's just similar vibes in both places. That's all I'm saying, especially because there's in both cities, and me, there's still questions at quarterback. It's really the only question for me.
yeah, in both cities too. Yeah,
Yeah,
both of them, both ways. I'm
and that's why I brought up Dallas too. Even though I know they sold on Dak, but I'm like, bro, it's the quarterback. I'm like, it's the question of every situation. That's what I'm like, bro. It looks the same across the board to me. That's why, and this ain't just Kansas City bias, but that's what makes us so clear cut above everybody else. We have literally the most sure thing at quarterback in the NFL. So I guarantee you, unless you Lamar Jackson now, because of that new deal they finally gave him, anybody else could be on the bubble.
Yeah, and you can't. I refuse to call it a bias. We're talking about two NFC teams that we have not. You can't call a Chiefs fan biased on any of these teams, in my opinion. Like we. That's what makes this more accurate when you look at any team outside of the AFC West or the Kansas City Chiefs. You're definitely going to find it the most accurate, and I believe you'll also find it the most accurate in the AFC West just because we pay attention in that division the closest out of any of them. So
Right.
it's just, I know we get a lot of hate from people calling us haters, but they only hate because the prediction becomes true. And then all of a sudden it gets in your feelings and you have a problem. And it's not my fault. It's your fault.
Not my fault. Right. If you hate the truth, that's just something you got to deal with, player. I don't know what to tell you. Nobody be able to tell you anything because it'd be too truthful and you wouldn't want to deal with it. And that's just the fact of the matter about some of these situations here. We ain't know it alls, but we do know a lot.
Right. And what we do know is that when we look at the NFC playoff picture, we know that it's going to be Philly is getting in, Dallas is getting in, the
Hmm.
49ers are getting in,
Hmm.
the Seahawks are probably going to sneak in. They're struggling. They
They
need to
ain't
get in
sneaking.
there. They're
They're in there.
sneaking. They're in there.
They're in there.
It leaves a
So
couple
whoever's
spots.
forced to win the South, if they don't win the division, they're a wild card lock at the
Yeah, and
least.
who is one in the South? Who's going to take it away?
You
I
see
think
what
it
I'm
is the
saying? Like only
Falcons.
one team is coming out the South, so them spots is already open, and it
I think
ain't
it's the
like too
Falcons.
many other teams. Who do you expect to win the West?
The
You still
Niners.
going with San Fran? And see,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. We're indifferent. Like I said, who knows what happened with that one? It could happen unless they lose out.
What what's something
Oh,
that
but
could
they might have a
happen?
tiebreaker though too. Now I'm thinking
Yeah.
about.
What's something that might happen that we haven't talked about is maybe it's three teams out of the West making the playoffs. What if the Rams sneak in with
No,
the Seahawks and
I
the
don't
Niners?
think. I don't think so. Cause
They're
only
playing good
because
football.
huh?
They're playing good football.
No, they are, but so is the Vikings. I still think there's an
Mm.
opening window for them.
Oh, I'm done. I'm done picking the Vikings. That juju curse that you put on me with the Chargers and the Vikings. Uh, I'm not picking the Vikings no more. I feel
He's
like it's bad for my
understandable.
predictions. Look, I should not have lost that game. Should not have lost the Vikings versus the Bears. That was a malarkey loss. I did not deserve it. That was a. I
Our
only
life
felt
ain't
like I
good.
deserved one loss last week. It was the Broncos versus the Cleveland Browns. I'll take that one square. I deserved it. The Broncos won. But the Detroit Lions should have beat the Packers, and the Bears
No,
should not have been able to beat the Vikings. And I ain't picking the Vikings. You lose to the Bears, I ain't picking the Vikings no more.
but you'll
No
pick
more.
the Chargers.
I might pick the Vikings again
Oh,
sometime.
God, but sound like good night. I'm like, I know you're upset, but come on
I am, man. It
now.
made me
Yeah,
mad,
I
dude. It
know.
was like the Bears. Like it was just so unbelievable. Like, oh man, what faith!
Oh,
Look, I was so mad when they lost to the Broncos. I was like, I can't believe this. Then I was like, it's okay. I can deal with it. The Broncos they've been winning. Okay, they've been
right.
winning. But when you lose to the Bears, I'm like, Dobbs, come on, I'm done with you, Dobbs. I was getting hype, and then I realized you just won me one game, and I got hype, and then like you just go on a losing streak,
Then
and
he
now
won your
I'm
Cardinals
hyped
pick
for
too.
no
When
reason.
you didn't you pick the Cardinals when they got that win over Dallas? No, that was me. No, I gotta go back and look. I could have sworn you picked Dallas before when he was the
Mm.
Cardinals.
No, I probably picked him when he was. I picked him when he was the Cardinals, but he lost me those games too. I was like, well, if they
Mm,
could beat the Cowboys, maybe Dobbs could be enough to beat some other team. And then that's exactly what happens. He beats the one team, and then you go, ooh, let's pick him for some games. And then Dobbs has probably cost me 4 games this season. No joke.
Because
Two for sure.
he's only won me a few besides this last one. Or did I pick the Bears? Did I pick? No, I picked the Vikings. I'm sure, more than likely.
Well, I'm sure you
But
picked the Vikings. I'm
nah,
not sure. I'm not positive. Don't quote me. I can't guarantee you did, but I feel like the Vikings was a mutual pick.
yeah, I'm waiting for the Bears to resurge because I'm still a fan of Field. Like I said, they don't show. But look, like I said, looking at the playoff picture, dude. Like I said, I could give you Philadelphia and maybe Dallas wild card spot, and then more than likely, unless the skid continues to happen, either Minnesota or Detroit. Shoot, or Green.
Should be
Well, Green
Detroit.
Bay is getting a seventh loss, so that might effectively. Well, no, because the South is that bad. So okay, so Philadelphia, Dallas, and I'm gonna go ahead for the sake say the Lions win that, and then I'm gonna go with Atlanta to win the South, and then after that, it's like I said, either Seattle or the San Fran out the West, and I think they're gonna be both of them. So there's your playoffs right there.
Yeah, well, I think we get one more spot, right? We got two wild card teams, and I think we get one
Yeah,
more.
one,
I think
two,
it's going to be the
three.
Rams. Rams are going to sneak in, maybe.
Now, if all three of them do, then that'd be amazing. But I was leaving the door open just in case, like I said, Minnesota or Green Bay. It's gonna be one of. It's either gonna be a team from the North or the West that's gonna get that
I
other
think
wild
we're
card.
getting three teams from the West. I think that's what's going to happen. And
I would take that.
let's talk a little AFC. We got to paint that picture right now. So we have the Dolphins winning the East.
Clearly,
We have the Chiefs winning the West.
of course.
The Ravens Steelers are winning
You
the
see
North.
that North matchup. That's what I'm saying. And even Cleveland. Like I said, they still in the mix. Like I said, they unless they go on the skid.
which
Um,
they are.
yeah, probably. So safe to say, I'm pretty sure Pittsburgh is making it to the playoffs. I'm just almost certain
Oh,
that they're
yeah,
going to the playoffs.
yeah.
Um, then after
Even
that,
if they
like I
go
said, in the
500
South.
on the season, they're guaranteed a playoff spot.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And of course, Jacksonville's going to come out the South, and I think the Texans come out the South with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild to think about because the Chargers flopped so hard. I think we see it coming from the South too. We might see two teams from the South. The Texans definitely could sneak into the playoffs, which could be a scary, almost scary playoff team.
Yeah, yeah. Any of them could win Week 1 for sure.
Yeah,
I'm
so
thinking,
we
yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be Houston and Jacksonville, Kansas City. That's 3. Pittsburgh, Baltimore. That's 5. And then Miami 6. And like I said, well, that last team is either going to be Cleveland. Shoot, or mess around could be the Colts. Yeah, like see, we can get 3
I
out of
mean,
either one of them.
look, no, I don't think it. Man, the Colts are still in that position. And the problem is it could be the Broncos too. Look, let's not completely count them out. However, look if we take a look at their schedule, I don't. They've it's
They
not as
they
easy as
got to
it
win.
should have been.
Yeah, I'm about to say they got a daunting task ahead of them if they're going to do that. Let me see here. Because they got some stuff coming up. Because, like I said, they're going to lose this weekend to CJ. Well, they scheduled back up here. And I hate even clicking on this Bronco. Yuck.
Right? You're afraid you get the wrong kind of impression on your computer there.
Man, subscribe. No, I'm not subscribing to nothing Bronco related. Thank you. Yeah, so they got the Texans. I even think the Chargers will muster up a win against them. Probably. I'm not gonna pick them because I'm not gonna pick nobody that game because I don't really care. I'm gonna say yawn, put an asterisk on it. Uh, but then after that, Detroit's more than likely gonna beat them, and then I can even see an upset in New England. Let's see. Then they get the Chargers and Raiders
No,
again, and the Raiders like to play spoiler. Yeah.
the Raiders could play spoiler. They've been super competitive since they've got the new coach. So I don't actually put it past them to be
Because
honest with
really,
you.
because all they got to do is beat them. They'll shoot. They could probably be fighting for that little spot if they went out. I don't know what the Raiders are looking at, but they're what they got 7 L's already. No, it's probably over. And like I said, Denver really can't afford to lose no more games. Like if they
Mm-mm.
lose this weekend, I'm pretty sure it's over. It's a wrap.
But no, they just don't. They can't lose more than like two more games, and that's their problem. And it's just two out of five is you got to go 3-2 at least. And even then, that's fringe. We're really talking kind of fringe playoff spot there. You still got to worry about can the Bills make the playoffs? The Bills could be what rocks their
Nobody's worried about
playoffs.
the Bills making the playoffs because they're not
This is the
gonna
first
make
time
them.
we've mentioned them in the playoff conversation. If
No,
and
you
I'm just
mentioned them. The world,
well,
I
I've got
know.
we're just talking about outside pictures. I mean, we were talking
If the
about the
bill,
Colts.
we
Well,
might as well
these
throw
are
the Bengals
outside.
in there. If we doing fantasy, we might as well throw the Bengals on in there too.
The
Throw them
Bengals
on
could
in
turn
there.
it around with
Oof.
they've got the wide receiver core.
Yeah, tell me about it. Come on now.
I can't. I can't. There ain't nothing. The story tells itself, folks.
That's
Look,
what I'm
I don't know
saying.
what
Like,
to
tell
tell you.
me about it, man. Look, they got the receivers, they got the Woodle Womp, they got everything, and so
Mm,
many else. Good night.
so many. Just back
Oh
to
God.
back to back to back.
Like I said, the Bills, they got still got to play the Chiefs. Another L. Then after that, you play the Cowboys. Another one. and then you play
Mm.
the Chargers, you might win that game. You play New England, you're so terrible, you might lose to New England. 'Cause,
I think they can beat New England. Like in fairness.
and then you play Miami again at the end of the year, and then that's another L. Goodbye. The Bills ain't going to the
Mm.
playoffs. They got at least three guaranteed L's coming up. At least two out
Yeah,
of three at the worst case scenario, because they're going to lose to Kansas City, and I really think the Cowboys are going to beat them. The last
yeah.
few division
Cowboys
games, those can be up in the air a little bit.
maybe.
Only
Is
because it's
it,
a division game is why I
are
say
they
it. Only
playing in
because
Buffalo? Is it in Buffalo with Miami, or are they in Miami?
let me go back here. They're in Miami.
Oh no, that's Miami all the way. Look, they complain about the heat during the winter time all the time. They're not going down to Miami coming from Buffalo. They're going, look, what they're about to do is they're about to go from negative 12 degrees,
Mm-hmm.
where it's in 4 feet of snow,
Look,
to 92 degrees in
you ain't got
sunshine.
to describe Miami to me. Will Smith done already told me back in the
Look,
'90s. I
well,
know Miami.
I've been to Buffalo too, and I'm just letting you know the whole city looks like despair. Like it is the only thing going for Buffalo is Niagara Falls is 45 minutes away. Like
He
it's
said
just the
nothing but despair.
it's
Good
the
night.
truck stop before Niagara Falls on your way to Canada. Like it's just a convenient location to get gas before you're on your way to the rest of
Good
America that matters.
night. Good night. That's how I feel when I think about New England, even though I've never been there. I like the team, but I hear the city.
Boston's
Something
all right. Boston's cool. We've actually been talking about going to
else.
Boston sometime this summer. Uh,
Ooh, going to
yeah,
Boston, huh?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I got people out there in Boston, so yeah. Every once in a blue moon, I got to make an appearance.
Mm. Well, good luck with that. Massachusetts.
Yeah,
I
they're
want to
not
go to
bad.
Rhode Island, low
I've
key.
never been there. That's
I've
one
never
of
been
those.
there either, but I do
Yeah,
want to visit there for some reason. Ain't that like the smallest state we got?
there's something
Something
like it, boy. The bad boy Tiny is all I know. Like,
That's what I'm saying. Like
yeah.
it's probably really cracking out there. Everybody know everybody. Probably.
Yeah, everybody, the whole state, the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that dude with a beard. He's that dude
Yeah.
with the sports show, ain't he?
Right. He live out there on 78, right? 78 Highway Farm Shack. Right.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure it's lovely. Shout out Rhode Island.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
at
If
least
it
you're
look
not.
anything like Me, Myself, and Irene with that Jim Carrey movie, then I'll mess with it. Nice water scenery.
I believe their state motto is "At least we're not Connecticut." So,
All right, that'll work. Hey, because, yeah, you could do worse.
right.
Shout out to Baltimore. She.
Well, folks, this is gonna be the end of the YouTube and Facebook stream. If you're continuing on Rumble, please enjoy the exclusive access that you're receiving. We appreciate you for your time, and we'll see you on the next show.
Yeah, there.